Hello, and welcome to the Hope Unlocked podcast. I'm your host, Kristen Kurtz, and I'm also the founder of New Wings Coaching, where I empower and unlock women to soar in their calling and roar with their voices. If you're curious to learn more about how coaching can help you unlock your potential, be sure to explore the show notes for ways to connect with me further. Get ready to dive in as we uncover empowering keys and insights in this episode. So tune in and let's unlock hope together. Welcome to the Hope Unlocked podcast. I'm Kristen Kurtz, your host. I pray this episode is like a holy IV of hope for your soul. Please help me welcome Kelly Oswald to the show. I am just very excited to have her share with you today, partly because she is a relative of a really good friend of mine who shared some information about this, I would say, a pioneering project that she has created to bring hope to many. And I am just, like I said, excited to have her here today. We were just talking before we got started, and I just love her heart. So, Kelly, would you just share a little bit about yourself before we get started?
Yeah, hi. So I'm Kelly. I am married. I've been married for about 3.5 years to my husband, Adam, and he has two wonderful kiddos. I have a bonus son, Kason, who's about 14, and his daughter, Adeline, is 9. And um, him being a father, when we met, was just something so special to me. I knew in my heart that I had wanted to be a mom and wasn't sure what capacity that was going to be. So um, we got together about 5 years ago and um, fell in love. We got married. It's been since 2021, so however many years that is. But we've been just trying to grow our family. We say complete it. I would love to have the opportunity to be a bio mom, and he knows that that's my heart, and we've been trying. And so what's kind of come over that time, there's been a lot of bummers along the way, a lot of just doctor invalidation, and a lot of bumps and roads to get where we are right now. So um, I guess that's kind of where my story comes from, is the hope that we're finding through infertility. Um, we were spontaneously pregnant last year, right before we were about to start some treatment. And unfortunately, that pregnancy ended in a loss. It was about 7 weeks along. And it was pretty devastating, a little bit more than I had expected it to be. And so, yeah, the last year's been a ride.
Yeah. What has kept you staying in hope through the journey? This, as we were talking, prior to the show starting, what I saw in your story, and whatever you're led to share is, the first season was Voices of Hope from the Valley, and I definitely see how you have just really stayed in hope during a really hard season. Would you be open to sharing a little bit more of how you have stayed in hope?
Yeah, absolutely. So last June is when we had our loss, um, and I have a lot of family. I've got a beautiful Christian community and friends that really kind of wrapped me in God's love, I would say, through those first few weeks, really after um, I had the miscarriage and we lost our baby. Um, I had found that it was pretty necessary for me to go into some deeper therapy after that. So in August of last year, I started a 4-week program, an intensive outpatient daily therapy program. And it was through there that I was able to just kind of calm my brain and feel God's presence, and truly just be reminded of like daily routines and how to function and how to start working on my healing through the grief. And Um, while I was in there, I had just started doodling. I was very anxious, and um, I had shared some of the doodles just online, and one of the women from my church, and also just a friend I've worked out with a couple times, but she had commented on one of my doodles. I hope that someday maybe you can use this as a ministry to speak to other women who have been in your shoes.
Yeah.
And so it was then that I started kind of praying on
Mhm.
how can I be purposeful through this? How can all of this hurt and this grief be worth it?
Mhm.
Um, and so that's kind of where I started to feel a lot more of God's presence in my healing when I was being more intentional about
Mhm.
how I was using my hands and how I was,
Mhm.
warding off just doing the doom scroll on my phone.
Yeah.
I would spend 10, 15 minutes every morning and turn on some praise music sometimes and, cry my way through as I was just
Yeah.
making lines, drawing on some paper,
Yeah.
and it got me through, that really hard hump of it all. But
Mhm.
um, so we've been able to find some hope through that and sharing the message that I
Mhm.
have been, because that has grown, and maybe we'll talk about that later, into a
Yeah.
small little business thing. But
Yeah,
it
I
was
would love.
really through the therapy that I was able to find a release and feel some of God's purpose in the pain.
Mm. Now, like, had you? I mean, I just realized, even myself and others that I've come across on my journey, not always, or not many are always. What am I trying to say? Not many are kind of willing to even step into therapy. Like, what prompted you to step into therapy? Was it, just kind of something that you felt like the Lord prompted you to do? Somebody else maybe had shared
Um,
a resource? Kind of curious on that front because, like I
yeah,
said, I think a lot of us just tend to, like I was sharing with you before we started, like kind of pull up our bootstraps, You know what I'm saying?
yeah. So, when I say things were bad, they were pretty bad. Things were really dark, and so
Mhm.
I was in a huge place of hopelessness.
Mm.
It was very hard to get through the days, and even a couple hours at a time. And my husband lovingly told me a few times, he's like, I don't know what I need to do, but
Mm.
I know that you need some help right now professionally, and I
Mm.
will love you through it, and I will support you through it,
Mm.
but I can't give you what you need. And so after some pretty tough talks,
Mhm.
I just kind of called around to some of the local, um, I guess, hospitals, and I did some searching, and I came to find one that had a program that would allow some flexibility. I had to talk with my boss about it, and
Okay.
I thank God for our friendship that
Mm.
she was able to see that what I needed was, this was more than just like I need a day off or two. It
Right.
involved a whole schedule overhaul, and as a hairstylist, that's really
Wow.
hard to do.
Yeah.
um, so she gave me so much grace through that too. But
Mm.
um,
Good gift.
I think everyone kind of knew and was like didn't know what to say, but I
Mhm.
was not okay, and people
Okay.
wanted to help me see that through. So
Mm.
my husband was the one who really prompted it, and I know there was a lot of support
Mhm.
once I started telling my family as well. So
Mhm. Wow. Well, and it's just so sweet that he was honest to say, I don't know what you need, but you need help.
yeah.
Like we
Mhm.
need people in our corner like that who can kind of see from the outside what what we need, right?
Yeah.
And now I, I would love for you to share a little bit more about, how you have a little bit more, how you've purposed this pain. Your doodles. I love that you call them doodles. I love to do. But your heart to really come alongside others. What does that look like for you?
Yeah. So like I said, I started kind of just doodling while I was taking in information. It was a more like group therapy
Mm-hmm.
in that setting. And so, in order to stay attentive and stay, on focus, I needed to keep my hands busy. And so I kind of took that and carried over, like, rather than sleeping through the pain and just like
Mm-hmm.
the depression was very, very obvious. But um, that's what I did. I started doodling and being intentful with it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a couple people, aside from the first woman who suggested it, said that they would love to buy some copies, and I had started using just blank note cards to send in the mail. I've always been a fan of real mail and getting like happy mail and just
Yeah.
sending letters out for no reason to your girlfriends across the
Mm-hmm.
state or the country or
Love
whatever.
that.
Like it's such an easy way to spread joy and
Yeah.
relatively pretty inexpensive. So
Yes. It's
so I started just
awesome art.
doodling them and
Mm-hmm.
putting them out. I was recording them on TikTok and
Okay.
making quick little videos, and people really started watching and getting into it. So um, one of my clients had shared. Now I'm gonna kind of back up a little bit, but she had shared with me a gift bag. When I opened it up, it's called a Joy Bomb, and that was a package curated by a local mom
Mm-hmm.
who had also experienced pregnancy loss.
Mm-hmm.
And her mission from there was to spread joy and let other moms and families who are experiencing this to know that they're not alone.
Yeah.
You and I had talked about, miscarriage isn't something that's widely spoken about, and um, I'm really grateful for my network of people that
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of spilled my guts on Facebook, and so people knew what I was going through, and
Yeah.
I wanted to give voice though to the people who don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
knew I knew that I wanted to benefit my now friend Emily's organization through this joy bomb that
Mm-hmm.
I had received. That just had some sweet little gifts in it, and a mug with some tea and chocolates, and really sweet reminders that you're not alone.
Oh.
Um, so when I started thinking about my note cards, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
how could I make this be a little bit more intentful and something that can share my heart for people, for God's love, as they're experiencing these losses. And so I had set up just in my head that I knew I wanted to sell cards and benefit a
Mm-hmm.
little something, a lot of love is the name of her organization
Mm-hmm.
here in Wisconsin. Um, so yeah, I kind of started working together with some friends, and once I had a decent collection kind of
Mm-hmm.
built up, I worked with one of my girlfriends to host a doodle night. She
Right.
she's the local boutique owner, and so
Oh,
she let me host it there, and
okay.
I was able to share my story. People from the public and a lot of friends were able to come in and sit down and hear a little bit about how doodling has helped me relax and relieve stress, and
Mm-hmm.
even worship through
Mm-hmm.
what I could do with my hands.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the night, they were able to buy cards if they wanted to. And that night we raised over $600
Gosh.
as a direct donation to a little something, a lot of love. And
Oh my God.
that was insane and just so powerful for me that we could do something,
Mm-hmm.
with so many small moving parts, like how huge
Yeah.
that end result was.
Huge.
Yeah. And
So
so
is
after
she like a nonprofit? Is it like a nonprofit ministry?
I I know she's working on different funding, or like the legal side of that all. I'm not quite sure
Okay.
where that stands
Yeah.
yet, but she was working on it the last time I chatted with her.
Okay.
Um, but
So
so I was able
people
to,
donate like the goods that are part of the like gifts that she
yeah,
gives
yep,
out.
yep. So a lot of local artists and crafters and just people that have a heart for her ministry.
Mhm.
Um, they donate, whether it's chocolates or teas or the mugs. Sometimes there's little pottery dishes or, some really nice hand lotion in the bag. And so they vary a little bit from time to time. And then she also makes these beautiful bracelets. And for
Oh,
every bracelet that's bought through her organization, one is donated to those bags as well.
oh, wow.
Um, it's just, yeah, a really cool kind of grassroots effort that she has put together these beautiful packages.
Incredible. And she's like right in your local community too?
Yeah, she lives nearby. We're all in just like little suburbs of Milwaukee. And um, yeah, so she's been able to reach a lot of women and family through what she's doing
Mm-hmm.
as well.
Mm-hmm. So I am curious because the doodles and
Yeah.
you're a stylist, you do good work with your hands, it sounds like. Your hands are gifted. Have you like always been artistic?
Yeah, I've definitely always had an interest and nothing to the point that I ever thought I would make money with my art or anything like that. But it has been something that has always calmed my brain, to work with my hands, whether it's drawing or painting or even at work, just, sculpting haircuts and
Yeah.
making really cool color combinations.
Mhm.
I've been very lucky and fortunate to be able to use those interests in a way that serves the
Mhm.
good of a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, so as far as your doodles go, tell us just a little bit more about them, like tangibly. You said that they're kind of like a pack of cards then?
Yeah, so I try to tend to curate like a little package seasonally or around Christmas time. I had some Christmas cards that went out. Um, and so I doodle kind of what comes to mind. I don't necessarily have a plan when I go into it, but
Wow, I
just
love
start making lines and seeing what comes. And
Mhm.
so I did have it set that I wanted to do a floral package. This past spring was when I set out to do a pack of six. And so what I do is I draw them and then I'm able to scan them and make prints. And
Okay.
that was the fastest way for me to figure out how to recreate them and get them out because there was a lot of interest in
Mhm.
people wanting to support not only me but
Mhm.
the other organization that I like to support as well. So they're packaged there for sale at my salon, and then I just do a lot of other
Mhm.
marketing through Facebook and sometimes Instagram and
Yeah.
whatever. Whenever someone asks, hey, what do you have, or I'd
Mhm.
like to buy some, I just keep them on hand and in stock. Try to do a little bit of a pre-order for them too. But yeah, so like I said, seasonally is kind of how that's come about.
Okay.
Just try
And
to be
then
inspired by whatever's around.
do you have like a pack coming up soon?
I have not quite yet. I had every intention of doing um, more like a greeting card pack as far as, bundles that have congrats and thank you. And
Mhm.
so it's just a matter of organizing and seeing
Mhm.
what the interest would be for something like that. I
Yeah.
try to think forward what's coming up, and we're through the major,
Right.
Mother's Day, Father's Day kind of holidays, but
Mhm. Mm.
there were a lot of teacher gifts in the last round that I did, so I found the springtime one to be a well-timed fundraiser, and
Mm.
yeah.
Love it. So you can ship like all over the US? Can you ship
Yes.
internationally too?
I
Great.
haven't had the opportunity to ship internationally, but I imagine that
Yeah.
that would be something super simple to do.
Yeah.
The people at the post office have got to know me pretty well now, so
And I'm sure that your relative has a lot of post office friends too. I
yeah,
want
right.
you know who we're talking about. I just love this. So you have like these packs that you're creating. Part of what I love most about it is the fact that you are literally just sitting down and really just getting inspired. You don't have a plan going in. Is it like
Yeah,
that, like 100% of the time?
pretty much. I see there's some artists I follow online on TikTok and Instagram that will inspire some different ideas. And sometimes it's just a matter of, ooh, I want to try that out. I have a little mini notebook that I carry around with me, and that's where I'll start like doing small doodles. And then, um, yeah, eventually when I sit down and just get a blank card out, it's sometimes led by, all right, I really liked this. Let's see what it turns into. And other times it's just, again, I'm gonna just go for whatever comes to mind and see
Mhm.
what happens. It's really kind of kickstarted a lot of my creativity to know how to fill in the places. I've seen a lot of growth in my art even since I started last. It's been almost a year now, but
Oh, wow.
just knowing that I'm able to create those images now and not just so much see it and try to copy it.
Mhm.
Um,
Mm.
that's been really fun and inspiring to see myself grow in that way.
Yeah. So a big part of why you're doing this is to really inspire and, like I like to say, be a hope igniter in others who have, maybe walked through some valleys like yourself. Have you, do you have any testimonies of people who've experienced being able to sit down and be creative and like heal through that creativity?
Yeah, there's been a couple smaller events that people have even asked me to host, and so one of my favorite events that I did was a friend of one of the women who came to my first doodle night, that
Mhm.
big fundraiser. She had actually asked if she could pay me to host a party for her mom. Her father was just getting ready to go through some cancer treatments over this past winter, and she said, "Hey, can you teach my mom and maybe a couple of her girlfriends how to sit and do this? I know my mom is going to be spending a lot of downtime at home this winter." And
Yeah.
um, so I've been able to touch base with her, and it sounds like that's something that was really helpful.
Hmm.
Um, just to her mom, and even so that woman brought her teenage daughter to the group. And I haven't done a ton of follow-up, but through my friend, they've said that it's just been a great opportunity,
Yeah.
um, of a quality way to spend time. I think of all the time that I spend on my phone and how I was super intentional to make those numbers go down
Yeah.
every Sunday when I'd get my screen time report. um, and so I've just been trying to inspire people to do the same, and I think that it's had a positive effect on just a lot of the people that I talk to about it.
Tell us a little bit more about the screen time thing. I wonder if some people don't know about it, and what is your like
Ugh.
intention with that? I like to say intention. Some people would say like goals, for the
Yeah.
week. I would love for you to, I know this is totally a side topic, but I know that it can be like a tunnel that you get kind of lost in when you get on
Oh,
there, right?
seriously. Yeah. So I have an iPhone. I don't know how to turn it off. And if I did, I would probably do it. But I'm sure there's a way that every Sunday I get a screen time report, and it's, very humbling to see daily how much time I'm spending on my phone. I would say in the thick of my depression, I was probably on my phone 7, 8 hours plus a day. Um, And I mean, there's plenty of studies that will show if you need the influences of social media and how it can lead to lead to depression, anxiety, and a lot of
Mhm.
just harmful things. And I was trying so hard to be conscious and aware
Mhm.
of what I was looking at. Was I seeing, pictures of birth announcements and happy families? And did that
Right.
help me grow, or did that
Mhm.
create more of a spiral for me? And when I was honest with myself, it was definitely something that kind of induced anxiety. And
Mhm.
sometimes I think as humans, we like to kind of like sit in our pity. And I know I was doing a lot of that in that time. But so it was just an overall reflection like, wow, I need to get that time down. That's really not serving me. in a
Mm-hmm.
positive way? What if I spent 15 minutes more? Like what if I read my Bible in the morning, or when I'm doodling, listen to some worship music instead? And I
Mm-hmm.
think when you're intentional about, even if it's 5, 10, or 15 minutes, like your heart is going to, it's going to follow that, like the immediate dopamine you get from sitting down and creating something. It's
Mm-hmm.
I had just learned that it was much easier to make better habits when I was intentional about it. And I think that was part of me, kind of starting to feel better and get through my depression and anxiety. I mean, along with the
Mm-hmm.
medications and the time in therapy as well, but
Yeah.
being aware of how I was spending my time and really focusing on what's going to help me get better.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to get it down to a number that was less embarrassing, but
Aw.
not even just like whatever anyone's number is, that's theirs. I'm
Yeah,
not trying to
totally.
downplay it for anyone else. We all have different needs.
Yeah.
And I even use my phone for work sometimes too, but it's at a number I'm much more comfortable with
Mm-hmm.
now. And
Mm-hmm.
um it shows, I think, a lot in my demeanor and my happiness and my ways to kind of soothe myself when I need it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think, I mean, that I really believe, even though it wasn't totally planned to talk about that, but, I think that this is a really big key for somebody who's listening today. Um, there are choices that we have, ways that we can, um, walk through that valley, and
Mhm,
having alternative ways that are bringing, joy, more peace,
mhm.
knowing like your awareness is incredible. Like truly, it's
Yeah.
incredible. When you were realizing that you were kind of reaching for the phone or, social media, was there kind of like a detox period that you had to go through? Like what did that look like for you?
Um,
Um, you know what I mean?
yeah, I would say it wasn't, I don't know. I just tried to be intentional with it. So if that meant that I got up and put my phone on the charger in a different room and walked away,
Mhm.
um, that was definitely just an easy way to help, or leave the phone at home if I was going to take my dog for a quick walk or something. I think it
Mhm.
was just more so being intentional about leaving it behind and knowing that, the world's not going to cave in if I miss a notification or don't respond
Right.
immediately to someone.
Mhm.
Um, I think that's been a really healthy way to also create boundaries that I didn't know I needed, as far as using my phone for work or even just catching up. What are people doing right
Mhm.
now? And am I being left out? And, you
Mhm.
know, it
Mhm.
was it was very helpful to not rely on my phone for those types of things.
Mhm. Yes. Well, you are very wise, I must
Every
say.
now and then it works out.
I mean, it really is, I like to call it simple wisdom, but it in this day and age where it is, a lot of things are on our phones, and it can be challenging to not pick it up. I mean, my phone sometimes it's like, here, pick me up. And I'm like, no, not right now. I have to almost like tell myself, not right now. I'm working on something.
Oh,
Um,
there's even a
it's
thing
like
in
an
the screen time
addiction.
that it will tell you how many times you pick your phone up or tap it, and
I've seen
like to
that.
look at your screen, and that is such a gross thing. Like,
Yes. I'm
it's
like,
so humbling.
yes. Well, that is, thank you for sharing that, because I, believe that there maybe is somebody today that's like, you know what, I'm going to set some different intentions maybe over this month. Sometimes it means, kind of taking a look at it for a week and just see, maybe it is going off social media for a time just to see what it's like. I did
Mhm.
that for like, I think it was like 6 weeks last year. And it was so nice. When I was on vacation in March, it was like I hardly got on there and I just felt more peaceful, even
Yep.
though a lot of what I'm called to do is, part of my coaching. I love just encouraging and empowering people through
Hmm.
social media. So it's kind of like part of my business in a way. But
Yeah.
yet it's like, how do we balance that with like boundaries, right?
Right.
So it's good stuff. Thank you for sharing that. That is so powerful. So one thing that we were talking about prior to starting, like I said, I know your heart to like come alongside women. Um, just even as you've been sharing today, I really think that this is like so much bigger than you see at this
Hmm.
point. Do you feel that?
I guess I'm hopeful for that, but it's hard to kind of imagine what the impact is of it, but I am hopeful that
Mhm.
it's going to reach women and even partners, spouses, grandmothers. Like I want people to know that it's okay to talk about.
Mhm.
I do include there's a message in each of the cards that I do package for sale that it just says this is why I'm doing this. It's
Mhm.
we're here to benefit um, and support other families that are going through loss.
Mhm.
And then I there's a list for resources where to reach out to that group, and then even just to come to my page, I try to speak some joy and some wisdom out there every
Mhm.
now and then throughout. Like I'll post doodles as I'm doing them, but I just want to inspire like open conversations and people
Mhm.
feeling comfortable talking about their
Mhm.
losses and the triumphs after that, and
Yeah. So
just help people.
is this like a Facebook group that you have, or like
Yeah.
you have
Yeah,
like
I
a
just have
community group?
yeah, it's just a page on Facebook. It's called
Mhm.
Doodles Doing Good. One of my girlfriends helped me come up with that.
Oh, love it.
Um, yeah, so that's where I share like a quick time lapse of the doodles that I do.
Mhm.
Definitely where all my brainstorming comes from when I'm putting a pack together. Um, and I have community input on that too. What are you looking for, and
Mhm.
what would be useful in your world? And then when I come across some things that are close to my heart about sharing the grief and the journey to healing, I'll share them there too, and just try
Mhm.
to inspire people through it.
Yeah.
It's just a little something, the power
Mhm.
of the internet, like we were just saying. It's
Right.
You have
Right.
to be aware of what you're sharing and posting and
Mhm.
hoping that it reaches that one person who needs it.
Mhm. And have you heard from a lot of women that they've just really been looking for community, having, challenges being able to open up? Um,
Yeah, absolutely. I've been able to just, talk back and forth with a couple people that
mhm.
some women that are on a similar route as me, they know that they can feel comfortable reaching out and talking about their pain and their triumphs.
Yeah.
Um, there's a local group that I joined too that meets, kind of sometimes it's monthly, sometimes it's a little bit more sporadic too, but where
Mhm.
it's specifically for women and the people who love them that are going through loss,
Mhm.
um, to kind of talk about that too. So just
Mhm.
seeing how those groups have grown, and um, there's
Mhm.
always a need for more of these groups is an
Mhm.
obvious way to see that
Yeah.
people are hurting and people need support and don't always know where to turn.
Mhm. Well, would you say so? We have a lot of resources online, which is such a blessing. Like, we can connect with anybody anywhere.
Right.
Groups, resources, websites, podcasts, books. But when it comes to getting in person, how integral would you say that that is when it comes to being with others who have walked, maybe a similar road?
I mean, for myself personally, at least, it's having that human contact that
Mhm.
you're looking someone in the eye. That was huge for me to be able to connect. I think the internet's a great tool, obviously.
Yeah.
And like you said, there are so many great resources, but the actual meeting and the value of human touch that not
Mhm.
everyone gets at home or in their daily lives, like to be able to meet in person, I
Mhm.
find to be a lot more powerful
Yeah.
for me, but I do know that other people connect differently, so it's
Yeah.
good to have all the options.
Yeah. Is there a resource that would be able to connect people to local meetings that you found
Around here
around?
where I live, in southeastern Wisconsin, there is a group um, called Mom's Mental Health Initiative, and they are an incredible resource.
Mhm.
They put together local providers that specialize um, in maternal care and mental health, obviously.
Mhm.
They put together play groups and online groups for mothers to find what's going to work best for them.
Okay.
Um, I'm hopeful that there's other groups like that across the country. But this group in particular has been a great one for me to connect to and to share with, clients in my chair that come in that are struggling maybe with a toddler at home and don't know how to soothe them or how to parent them. And
Mhm.
um, there could just be, I need help after my baby's born. I don't have someone to hold the baby while I do the dishes. And so they'll come over and someone will do your dishes and hold your baby for you while you just step away for 20 minutes. And
Wow.
um, it's a very cool group that's very peer led, and um, it's a lot of moms who have been there before to help others that are now in those same shoes.
Wow.
And that's
That is.
been really cool to just know about and share it with other people too.
Yeah. Well, I love that you are such a connector and such a, sounds like you're also, I like to call myself a resource distribution center. I love that you can do that for others. And sometimes we don't even know where to start, where to go. And
Mhm.
yes, there's Google, but to have somebody who's actually like, first of all, walked it out, but second of all, actually experienced something and be able to, testify to the goodness of something rather
Yeah,
than looking at, 10 different organizations and be like, I don't even know where to start. I'm like in so much grief right now. What do I even do? But for you to come
yeah,
along and just be like, this is a key for you. That's huge.
yeah. That's one thing I've been super thankful that I don't want to say fell into my lap to meet them, but I've had so many other incredible moms ahead of me and in my circle that really pointed me in that direction. So um, I was
What?
able to look into the groups as I needed them, and that was
Mhm.
all part of when my husband and I had that conversation. Like, you need
Mhm.
something, and
Yeah.
I was able to get some good resources from that for what was available in my area.
Mhm. Mm. And now you get to, pass along what others need as well, which is so
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
Um, well, I just love your story. And what is, there's so much more coming for you. What is
Mm.
something that you feel like God is really stretching you in maybe this year? Whether it's, Doodle's doing good or, just something that you are being stretched in that is kind of beyond what you could like imagine.
Mm.
Kind of looks a little bit impossible, maybe. Um, like I
Yeah.
said, I feel like your business, I would say it's a ministry too,
Hmm.
is going to reach so many more than you can imagine. But yeah, I just thought I'd ask that question.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely have that hope for the doodles, but
Hmm.
right now what I'm personally struggling with in my walk is listening when God says, I have this handled and figured out. My heart still hurts so much to be a biological mom and to really know what that is, what that feels like. And so I just I have to sit in my disbelief sometimes and say, Kelly, this is the God who moves mountains, and
Hmm.
um, has plans that are so much better than my own.
Yeah.
Um, and to just really grow in my trust that that's it might not look like what I think it's going to look like, but I do know that there are plans to prosper me and um, our family and see what's ahead for us. So
Beautiful. Do you have a verse that you've really been clinging to in this season?
I do. I have it written down and I meant to grab it. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
I'm really bad at the memorization part, but
Hey, it's not easy. I always tell people
right.
like I can remember some words and then the address is really challenging to remember. Sometimes I
That's
remember the
right.
address and I'm like hope. Okay.
Yeah, it's in there somewhere.
It's good. It's good. We're all learning.
So one of the verses that I have prayed over and I've shared with quite a few other moms along the way is from Isaiah chapter 66, verse 9. I'll not cause pain without allowing something new to be born.
Mm.
And I mean, for me, that's not even about the physical birth, but just really trusting God's plan. Like I said, it's not.
Mhm.
I believe that whatever He has for me is better than I can plan for myself.
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes it's just the struggle with,
Mhm.
but what if? And
Yeah.
I know that's not from God. So
Mhm.
um, I do try to keep this verse
Mm.
in a lot of places throughout my house that I can see it. So it's hanging up on a couple different bulletin boards and um, just it's around to remind me.
Mhm. Isaiah 66:9.
Yep.
Wow. I don't think I've read that one for a long time. And I mean, even as you were talking earlier, you were just reminding me of, Jeremiah 29:11,
Hmm.
I have a
Yep.
future and a hope, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Which we all do. And I think one of the most challenging parts of this walk is just, sometimes I think I know what's better, right?
Right.
It's like, well, this could be really good, Lord. Like, why is it happening this way? And
Right.
it can be really challenging to, we're human. That's
Hmm.
he understands our anguish and our anger. Like I've been so angry at God so many times and like fist up, like, don't you know better? Like and doubting and and just kind of like what is going on, and to really just have that trust and to believe that he has his his heart, he's over us, he knows. And like you said, that kind of that what if, it definitely isn't helpful, but it is a question that we ask, and I ask often as well. um so I just am so thankful for your heart to, go through your process, because it is a process of healing. But not
Hmm.
only that, to come alongside others in their process while you're still healing. That is a gift to so many. Not everybody is able to do that. So I want to thank you for that. Yeah. I think you went muted. Uh-oh. Let me unmute you.
Found it. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm like, oh no.
But yeah,
Where did
definitely
she
was
go?
not somewhere I had planned
Mhm.
to be this voice for others, but um I'm thankful that God has given me I'm equipped, like I love people and I love to love on people and
Mhm.
um here I am. Like I said when we were talking earlier, I just asked God to help me find something to make all of that pain I went through
Yeah.
kind of worth it. And so if that means he needs me to talk loudly and speak out to people and post about it and
Mhm.
just whatever it is to make people not feel alone through their grief is I'm willing to do that. So
Thank you for all you're doing. You are I like to say on the podcast, really to anybody who comes on here that I've been connected with, you're a brave voice who's setting others free. So,
hmm.
as we were talking earlier, I do this for the one. And as you've been, talking, Is there anything else that you would want to say to this one woman who's listening to you today? There might be a man. We don't know. Typically, it's
Sure.
women. Is there anything that you would want to just share with her as we close here? And would you be open to praying over her today?
I would love to do that. Um, yeah, I want her to know that she's not alone, and whether it's in her physical community, there is definitely a community of voices and resources and love out there to really help support her and validate her feelings through whatever her loss may be. But um, our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to meet together and to share our voices online. And God, we pray that you can meet any woman or any man where they are in their pain and their grief, and let them know that you will bring them through it, and that what you will do is so much greater than what they can imagine. Um, we thank you for your heart of healing, and we know that you know the pain it is to lose your child and to have to go through the unbearable of that. But we thank you for your redemption through Jesus, that we can celebrate life after. And we just pray that you know that for that the others around may know that, whether it be through a testament of their friends or just the nudging of the Holy Spirit that you're sending them. Um, we thank you for the opportunity to meet together and to talk about these real issues and these real things that are happening in our world. And we thank you for that opportunity. In Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank you, Kelly. You are a dear one. Oh my gosh, I'm so thankful for your cousin for
Yeah, she's great.
making that connection. I am going to close with the anchoring verse for Hope Unlocked. It's may the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace in believing, so that by the power of the Holy Spirit you may abound in hope. And that's Romans 15:13. So I will have all of Kelly's contact information in the show notes. Please reach out to her if you are led to, and I will be back with another episode next week. Thank you, Kelly, for being on today.
Thank you.